Ayo, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for today's video, and I just want to say a very Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates it. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful festive season and a great start to the new year. And with that said, let's talk about today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a top 10 list of the best physical DPS weapons in the game so far. So the list is based on a fair amount of research, but it is also, in the end of the day, opinionated. So if you disagree with me, that is fine. Let me know in the comments. I do not claim to know everything, and I do not claim that this list is definitive and the only way to go about it, or the only way to look at the weapons. Other people might have a completely different top 10. So yes, even though it is based on some research, it is also, in the end of the day, my opinion. So let's discuss it. And last but not least, I want to thank meowdb.com for their wonderful site, all the work they put in, which is the main site that I used for researching the weapons. The criteria that this list is based on are as follows. I put the most stock into the boost physical attack R ability. I also looked at the C ability, the potency of it, what it provides, any extra utility, anything like that, defense is down, etc., etc. Then I looked at the R2 ability, so obviously the second R ability of the weapon, and how it sort of combos with the weapon itself, if it has a good synergy with the R1, and so forth, or whether it has good synergy with a physical build, for instance. Then at number 4, I looked at the ability speed. So this is the actual cast time of the ability in a fight, how long it takes to get the ability off. Because we all know all abilities are not created equal, and some are much faster and others are super slow. I'm looking at you, Edged Wings. Anywho, the last stat that I look at is the physical attack stat, and that is basically the criteria that I'm using to create this list. And as I said, it is by no means definitive, but this is my top 10. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Hope you enjoy. At number 10, we have Sephiroth's Dark Heavens. The Dark Heavens is a fantastic physical weapon. It has a great physical attack stat, along with solid boost physical attack R ability and wind potency. And the ability speed of this weapon is medium, which is 3 to 4 seconds to cast. It also has fairly good support materia in 2 physical attack boosts and the valuable sigil boost for circle. The ability really stands out for this weapon. It is at max an 800% physical wind damage to a single enemy. Let's take a look. So overall, this is a great physical weapon for Sephiroth. And if you're looking to create a physical-based Sephiroth build, you cannot go wrong with the Dark Heavens. At number 9, we have Cloud's Maritime Sword. Again, this weapon has really good physical attack stats. It's got the classic boost physical attack 40 points, and the classic 36 for elemental, which in this case is water potency. The ability, Sea Splitter, is a really cool looking ability. It has 750% physical water damage to a single enemy, and it has a medium ability speed as well, much like the Dark Heavens. The support materia are also fantastic for this weapon, leaning into physical and giving you a sigil boost. Overall, another fantastic weapon if you are building a physical build for Cloud, especially for water. You definitely want the Maritime Sword in your arsenal. My reasoning for ranking the Maritime Sword higher than the Dark Heavens is mainly because of the supporting cast of weapons and costumes, abilities, etc. around the weapon. What I mean by that is that there's not that much wind enhancement, with the exception of Sephiroth's costume, which goes with the Dark Heavens, whereas there's more support for water. Cloud has his own costume that boosts water, and on top of that you have weapons like Zack's Black Whiskers and many more water potency weapons. And just because of that supporting cast, I've decided that the Maritime Sword ranks higher than the Dark Heavens. At number 8, we have Cloud's Murasame, one of Cloud's weapons, taking another spot in the top 10. This time it's one of the first weapons that came out in the whole game. Cloud's Murasame, much like the Maritime Sword, is a 750% single target ability, this time with the lightning element, of course. It has the classic physical attack boost, this time with lightning potency, which works great with his Murasame garb. The support materia for this weapon are also fantastic. 2 physical attack boosts and a sigil boost for triangle, and we all know those are always very useful. But the main reason why this weapon has beaten out the other 2 is because it boasts the highest physical attack stat at max of all the weapons in the list, and on top of that, the ability speed of the Thunderstrike is medium fast, so that is 2 to 3 seconds instead of the medium, which is 3 to 4. At number 7, Tifa's Holy Flame Gloves. Added fairly recently, this weapon has great physical attack stat. The ability, or the R abilities, should I say, give the classic 40 points of physical attack boost, and in this case, 36 points of boost ice potency. The C ability for this weapon is an 800% physical ice damage to a single enemy with a cast time of medium fast, and it boasts 2 physical attack boosts and a circle sigil boost, very much falling in line with the other weapons on this list so far. The Holy Flame Gloves takes number 6 on the list because it shares the highest physical attack stat in the game with the Murasame, and it also shares a medium fast cast speed, much like the Murasame, but what edges it just above the Murasame is that it has that extra 50% command ability percentage, bringing it to 800% physical ice damage in comparison to the Murasame's 750, and that is what edges the Holy Flame Gloves into 6th place. Coming in at number 6, I have gone with Sephiroth's Glare Reed, which boasts a solid physical attack stat, as well as the classic 40 points of boost physical attack. But this weapon has 3 things that make it stand out from the other weapons. The first is that it is versatile and can be used as a primary or secondary weapon or a sub-weapon. As a primary weapon, its benefit is an attack boost to Earth in its support materia. That gives you an extra 30% Earth ability damage, making it a great weapon for an Earth-based Sephiroth build. Not only that, but the command ability for this weapon has a 650% physical, non-elemental damage ability, but it hits all enemies and has a crit rate of 10%, so an AoE command ability with a strong percentage attached to it. And the number one reason is because it has an epic R2 ability in boost limit break potency plus 48. That works great with the physical build. It does not have the elemental damage like any of the other builds, which also makes it more versatile because it is not locked into a single element. Instead, it gives you a fat boost to boost limit break potency, which can be great as a primary or secondary weapon, and can be great as a sub-weapon to give 24 limit break potency boost to any character. At number 5, I have Matt's Killer Hornet, which may be quite a contentious one, but his physical attack stat on this weapon is fantastic. For our abilities, this weapon has boost physical attack 40 points and boost physical ability potency of 36 points. The reason why the Killer Hornet at number 5 is quite contentious is because most people will say, well, it only has a medium speed, 720% physical ability. Well, that does have a 10% crit attached to it, and the support materia provide an attack boost, a physical attack boost, and again, the super useful Circle Sigil. The Killer Hornet falls into number 5. It is because of that super valuable boost physical ability potency, which not many weapons have, which works perfectly with a physical build or a physical weapon, and that boosts it up the rankings. But not only that, the combined stats of this weapon, looking at physical, magical, and heal, are the highest of all of the weapons in this list. And that brings the Killer Hornet into the number 5 spot. And at number 4, with much deliberation, I've decided to place Lucia's Bald Eagle at the number 4 spot. For starters, the Bald Eagle is one of the only 3 weapons in the game that boasts a 54-point boost physical attack R ability, which makes it an absolutely banger weapon. It takes the number 4 spot, even though it has a slow ability speed, because, well, everything else about it is fantastic for a primary weapon or for granting physical attack to any other character as a sub-weapon, because that 54 points means that absolutely any character that uses it as a sub-weapon will get a whopping 27 points of boost physical attack, as opposed to the 20 from all of the other weapons in this list, with the exception of number 3 and 2. The second reason Why the Bald Eagle is so high up on the list is because of its amazing ice synergy, which comes from its support materia that gives you an ice boost of 30%. So if you decide to use it as a primary weapon, you will have a fat ice boost on your weapon. But it is also great for the command ability, which does admittedly less damage than the other weapons, 540% to a single target with a 10% crit rate, but it lowers ice resistance of the enemy by a high potency. This utility, along with its very high physical attack, just makes the Bald Eagle an incredible weapon. It's great as a main weapon, as a secondary weapon, or as a sub-weapon to grant that big physical attack boost. And it is the best friend of any ice user because of the ice utility. And that, my friends, is why the Bald Eagle takes the number 4 spot on my list. It's number 3. Very much like the Bald Eagle before it, Zack's Black Whiskers takes the top 3 spot on the list because of its incredible utility and versatility. Just like the Bald Eagle, it is one of the only 3 weapons in the game that gives you boost physical attack, 54 points, making it once again a fantastic primary or sub-weapon. It's great. And just like the Bald Eagle, the support materia for this weapon gives you a water boost of 30%. So if you take it as a primary weapon, you will be gaining 30% extra water damage, which is fantastic. But what edges it above the Bald Eagle, being a very similar weapon, except water versus ice, the thing that edges the Black Whiskers into the top 3 is the command ability, which has the same damage percentage at 540% with 10% crit, but it does a physical defense down debuff to the enemy and the water resistance down, starting at mid, maxing out at high potency. And on top of that, unlike the Bald Eagle's slow ability speed, the Black Whiskers Swirl Drop has a medium fast ability speed. The perfect companion for any water-based build, the Black Whiskers is an overall great weapon packed with amazing stuff. And I didn't even mention the Triangle Sigil boost. This weapon has got it all, and so it takes the number 3 spot. And at number 2, another very contentious one, I expect. It is Tifa's Motor Drive. Now, to be honest, I originally had the Motor Drive in 4th place, and it can very much be argued that it should be lower down on this list, but I've decided to give it 2nd place because, once again, this is an opinionated list. It is not a definitive, this is the only way it can be list. It is based on my opinion and my research, and I've decided to push Motor Drive up to 2nd place. Now, it might seem a bit silly to some of you, but in the end of the day, this is a physical DPS top 10, and while the Black Whiskers and Bald Eagle bring amazing utility in their command abilities and their support materia, they just don't do that much damage themselves. And for today's video, I'm going with pure DPS. And in the end of the day, the Motor Drive brings just that, DPS. The command ability for this weapon is a 790% physical wind damage to a single target. And the ability speed of this is fast, which is 0 to 2 seconds. And you can check it out for yourself. The ability of the Motor Drive is mega quick, and being able to do 790% really quickly is amazing. It also brings the wind potency to make itself or any other wind build that much stronger. And that is why the motor drive takes spot number 2 on this list. Coming in at number 1, Zidane's Sword. Enough said. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm kidding. Zidane's Sword is my number 1 because similarly to the motor drive, it is all about DPS. And once again, the Zidane's Sword does not bring nearly as much utility as the Bald Eagle and Black Whiskers, but what it does bring is a lot of DPS. For starters, the physical attack stat at max is the second highest currently in the game, below the Murasame and Holy Flame gloves, and the combined stats of this weapon, physical, magical, and heal, are the second highest in the game, with only 3 points below the Killer Hornet, making it super strong. The ability speed of the command ability is sadly only medium, 3 to 4 seconds, and that makes sense because the command ability is a whopping 1300% physical damage to the enemy. It is non-elemental, so it is not tied down to any elements, which means it can't take advantage of boost elemental potencies, but at the same time, that makes it usable in almost every scenario where enemies resist a certain element. This is your weapon you want. Not to mention it has 10% crit rates on it as well, which is amazing. The last reason why Zidane's Sword takes the number 1 spot is because its R2 ability is also the perfect complement to a physical build, which is the physical ability potency of 36 points. And last but not least, it has the triangle sigil boost, and sigil boosts are very good to have. And there you have it. With the second highest physical attack stat in the entire game, the second highest combined stats of the physical weapons, a massive 1300% command ability with a 10% crit rate, 2 physical attack supports, and a triangle sigil boost, physical ability potency of 36 points. The Zidane's Sword is the best weapon for physical damage in the game. That is in my opinion, and that is my list. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, people will have very different opinions, and that is fine. This is my opinionated list. It is not a definitive list, and this is the way I see the weapons currently. I would say the biggest talking point is whether Bald Eagle and Black Whiskers are better than Zidane's Sword and Motor Drive because of their immense utility, and I would love to hear what you think. Is the straight up DPS better? Fast DPS for Tifa's Motor Drive, or slow but incredible DPS for Zidane's Sword? Or are the magnificent utility of the Black Whiskers and Bald Eagle just so much better? Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and see ya!